So the question is, how does heaven factor into our walk with God? And I think heaven is where all the scales balance, meaning if God asks us to do a lot of things sacrificially and says, do these things, trust me, because in the end, it'll be better that you followed me. If in the end there is nothing but you end up in the dirt, from dust you are to, and dust you return, if that's all that we're looking forward to, then all these future rewards that God promised or that Scripture promises don't really exist. So heaven is that conversation about, is there really a then? Is there really a there? Is there really a resolution to it all where my faith is really rewarded and all the scales balance that way? And without heaven or the afterlife or resurrection, Paul says Christians are to really be pitied. I mean, if all there was Jesus' death, but no resurrection, then we really don't have a hope. And we really shouldn't be living this counterculture, counterintuitive, paradoxical way. But likewise, Paul will argue, if there is a resurrection, meaning if there is a then and a there and all of that, if Jesus really is the first fruits of the dead that way, then all of that paradoxical living, all of that faith, all of that sacrifice is really an investment into the hope we have in the resurrection. So heaven is this incredibly important conversation because it's the thing that makes it all cohere or make sense, or it's the thing that if it doesn't exist or if there's a lack of, it makes it all fall apart and not gel together. So faith in heaven, we don't always talk about heaven, but it's always kind of there as a backdrop. It's always looming in the background. It's always somehow informing our faith as we look to the future. Jesus has saved us, is saving us, and then the question is, will he ultimately save us when we're glorified with him in the resurrection? And so that future day that Scripture talks about, New Testament talks about, that day, that really is, again, the foundation of faith. So I think it's incredibly important. It's a great question. And I think we have to wrestle with those two things in the conversation together. It's a great question.